Brought to you by Thomas Allgaier and Freeness. This edition highlights key LinkedIn posts on future mobility and market evolution in weeks 21 and 22. Freeness supports Tier 1 automotive suppliers with early-stage market validation for their R&D efforts by combining secondary research, direct OEM expert interviews, and facilitated customer meetings. You can find more info in the description.
Imagine sitting in the back of a multi-million-dollar robotaxi.
Okay.
The steering wheel's turning by itself. All the screens are glowing. It feels incredibly futuristic.
Right. Very sci-fi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then without any hesitation at all, the vehicle just drives you straight to a flooded street and water starts rising up the doors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Welcome to the deep dive.
Today, our mission for you is to really cut through the industry noise, right? We're synthesizing the most critical future mobility insights that were shared across LinkedIn during calendar weeks 21 and 22.
Yeah, we are skipping the fluff.
Completely. We're looking past the shiny tech demos and getting straight into the operational realities. Because as that flood scenario shows, we are in a massive transition phase right now.
We really are. And, the dominant theme across these 2 weeks of discourse is basically the friction between what software can simulate and what the physical world actually demands.
Right.
I mean, the industry has proven that cars can drive themselves. We know that. But scaling that technology into an actual functional, profitable fleet,
that's the hard part.
It's an entirely different frontier.
Well, I want to start exactly there with the physics of the real world. Because that flooded street scenario you mentioned, that wasn't just hypothetical.
No, not at all.
Sanjay Kumar actually posted this really fascinating breakdown of Waymo robotaxis doing exactly that. They were driving straight into flash floods in places like Atlanta and San Antonio.
Which is wild.
Right, because to you or me, a flooded street is obvious. So how does this highly advanced multi-million-dollar sensor suite just completely miss a giant pool of water?
Well, it actually comes down to the physics of light.
Okay.
So LiDAR, those are the spinning sensors you always see on top of these vehicles.
Yeah, the little spinning buckets.
Exactly. They rely on millions of infrared laser pulses. They fire out and bounce back to build this 3D map of the world.
Right.
But water acts as a mirror. It's this phenomenon known as specular reflection.
Specular reflection.
Yeah. So when those laser pulses hit the flat surface of a flooded street, they don't bounce back to the sensor. They reflect away.
Oh, I see.
So to the vehicle's perception stack, a really deep, dangerous flood just registers as a stretch of perfectly smooth, flat, clear asphalt.
Wait, but these cars have cameras too, right? I mean, they aren't just relying on lasers.
They do. And cameras might detect, say, a change in texture or color.
Mm-hmm.
But cameras alone can't inherently calculate the depth of that water in real time.
Ah, gotcha.
And what makes this whole thing so compelling is an insight from Pradeep Sanyal. He was talking about a recent NHTSA recall on this exact issue.
Okay, what did he find?
Well, in some of these flood incidents, the AI actually did detect that a hazard was present.
Wait, but if it detected a hazard, why didn't it just stop the car?
Because of the hazard modeling parameters. Instead of initiating a hard stop, the system just decided to slow down and, proceed into the water anyway.
That is wild. I mean, it's like a corporate IT system detecting a massive security breach, but instead of locking the network down, it just
logs a warning.
Yeah, it just logs a warning and keeps operating as normal. So it's a failure in hazard judgment, not just an optical illusion.
Precisely. It's the AI equivalent of permissive behavior inside hazardous conditions.
Wow.
And this lack of nuanced contextual judgment, it extends way beyond extreme weather. I mean, take Michael Lee's observation from the same week.
What happened there?
He highlighted the situation where a fleet of robotaxis completely gridlocked a San Francisco intersection. And the thing is, they didn't crash. There were no mechanical system meltdowns.
So what caused the gridlock then?
They followed their own risk avoidance protocols so perfectly that they just froze.
Oh, man.
Right. Human drivers use this language of controlled ambiguity. We inch forward, we wave someone through, we make eye contact.
We negotiate the space dynamically.
Exactly. But the AI lacks that negotiation skill. It just saw other vehicles encroaching, decided the risk was too high to move, and stopped entirely.
It's like the unwritten social contract of driving that the code just hasn't figured out yet.
Yeah.
And from what I saw on LinkedIn, it's not just driving logic where the human element is missing. It's also just basic customer service.
Oh, the luggage story.
Yes. There was this wild story shared by Eddie M. about a passenger named Dijin. He was taking a Waymo to the San Jose airport.
Right.
The trunk malfunctioned and wouldn't open, so Dijin steps out to try and get his luggage, and the car just immediately drives off with his bags inside.
Because to the routing software, the ride was over.
Exactly.
The destination was reached, the doors closed, so it was just time to move to the next task.
Right, and Waymo customer support basically told him the vehicle was already en route to a depot and reportedly refused to cover the return shipping for his bags.
Unbelievable.
I mean, a human driver would obviously look back and say, hey, your trunk is stuck, let me pop it from the front. But the AI just leaves.
Which is exactly why experts like Brian Reimer and Philip Koopman are arguing so forcefully right now. They're saying, we need to stop calling these systems fully autonomous.
Because they're not.
No, they are highly automated, absolutely. But they remain completely tethered to remote human assistance, human maintenance crews, human operational oversight.
So the driver in the front seat might be gone, but the human infrastructure required to keep that car moving is massive.
Exactly. And building that human infrastructure is this incredibly unsexy, highly capital-intensive problem that a lot of tech enthusiasts just ignore.
Right.
Thibaut Castagna made the point that autonomous vehicles are no longer a venture capital software story. They represent a heavy infrastructure build-out.
Yeah, you need new financing layers, physical servicing footprints, new insurance models.
Let's look at the physical servicing aspect, actually. Timothy Papandreou highlighted a Y Combinator startup called Aegon Labs.
Oh, okay, what are they doing?
They're building what they call depots in a box.
Depots in a box.
Yeah, because if you have a robo-taxi fleet, you have an immense dead mile problem.
Oh, like when the car is driving empty.
Right. When a sensor needs to be wiped down or the interior needs to be cleaned after a messy passenger, you don't want that car driving empty for 10 miles across a congested city back to some central hub.
That makes total sense. You need distributed modular maintenance nodes everywhere.
Exactly. You're basically rebuilding the gas station and car wash model, but completely decentralized for robots.
Wow. And on the insurance side, the financial layer is starting to dynamically adapt to the software too.
Oh, right. The Tesla fleet thing.
Yeah. Jeff Cabbins posted about the launch of Roamly FSD. It's commercial insurance specifically for Tesla fleets that tracks the vehicle in real time.
How does it work?
Well, the moment the full self-driving software is engaged, the per-mile insurance cost drops by 50%.
Wow. Because the underwriter's actuarial data shows the system is statistically less likely to cause a claim in that specific mode.
Exactly. But, all this scaling brings us to a much more contentious public policy question. What is the impact of all these heavy, highly complex vehicles on the actual cities hosting them?
Yeah, that's a huge debate.
Awad Abdelrahim published data revealing that Waymo vehicles carry 0 passengers nearly 46% of the time.
Almost half the time.
Half the time. And when they do have humans on board, they average 1.4 passengers, which is actually lower than a traditional private car.
Wait, so if these cars are driving around empty nearly half the time, aren't they just creating a new, incredibly expensive type of gridlock?
That's exactly it. Why would a city even allow that?
Well, that is the exact question Tomas Gabor framed in his recent post. He argues that cities shouldn't just measure vehicle miles traveled anymore.
What should they measure?
They need to measure street space efficiency.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Does a premium autonomous ride actually earn the public space it consumes? I mean, if a 2-ton vehicle takes up 20 feet of road space but moves 0 people half the time, it's a net negative for urban flow.
Absolutely. And it's not just driving space we're talking about, it's curb space.
Right.
Think about the last time you ordered a rideshare. When you get out, you instinctively check your mirrors, look out for bikes, and then you open your door.
Hopefully.
Right, hopefully. But Berngrush brought up the Hankey case in San Francisco where a Waymo passenger just swung a door open directly into the path of a cyclist in a bike lane.
Oh, man. Which immediately exposes a massive liability loophole.
Huge.
Because if a city doesn't provide designated safe pickup and drop-off zones for unmanaged robotaxis, who pays when someone gets hurt?
Is it the passenger who opened the door? The AI that chose the spot?
Or the city that didn't provide the infrastructure?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you really can't just copy-paste a solution from one city to another either.
No, not at all.
Eduardo Rojas noted that operational realities and wait times for robotaxis vary wildly just between San Francisco and Los Angeles.
Right, because the city layouts are so different.
Yeah, these business models have to be hyper-localized. And let's not forget the human cost of all this.
The gig drivers.
Right. Ryan Green shared data from Gridwise showing that human rideshare trips per hour have fallen 5.3% in cities where AVs are active.
Wow.
So gig drivers are already feeling the economic squeeze.
Which is tough. But that obsession with operational efficiency and space utilization in the city, it actually creates a perfect logical bridge to our next major theme from these 2 weeks.
Oh, the micromobility stuff.
Exactly. Because the struggle of these heavy, space-consuming autonomous vehicles stands in really stark contrast to the massive, quiet success of much smaller vehicles.
Yeah, micromobility is blowing up.
It really is. While robotaxis are generating headlines for causing gridlock, micromobility is fundamentally becoming foundational urban infrastructure.
It's doing the heavy lifting now.
Heavy lifting is right. Chris Steffens shared a stat that honestly blew my mind. U.S. e-bike sales have hit 1.5 million annually.
1.5 million.
Yeah. They are completely outpacing traditional electric vehicle sales. He coined it the 5-mile financial shift.
The 5-mile financial shift, what does that actually look like in practice for a consumer?
It's pure economic strategy, basically. Instead of a family financing a $30,000 secondary car, paying for insurance, gas, and maintenance just to run errands within a 5-mile radius.
They just buy a $2,000 e-bike.
Exactly. The carrying costs practically vanish.
Oh, okay.
And they actually get their mobility needs met faster because they aren't circling the block looking for parking.
That makes total sense.
And we saw data from Tino Meller and McKinsey showing this is becoming deeply woven into everyday life.
What did the McKinsey data say?
In the UK and Germany, 32% of shared micromobility use is now just for visiting friends and leisure.
Wow.
Yeah, which actually beats out commuting.
It's like the industrialization of the bike lane. And honestly, nowhere is that more apparent than in B2B logistics. Oh, the cargo bikes?
Yeah. We saw posts discussing how Amazon is heavily piloting e-cargo bikes in Washington, D.C. right now, building on their operational success in New York City.
Which is brilliant because an e-cargo bike is zero emission, it's virtually silent, and crucially, it just bypasses urban traffic entirely.
Right. But what fascinated me was the shift in how these bikes are being built.
Aww.
Ben Morris and Justin Bruce posted about joining Also, which is this new mobility incubator born out of Rivian.
The EV truck company.
Yeah. Their goal is to bring true automotive-grade engineering to four-wheel commercial cargo bikes.
I see. Because a consumer e-bike might get ridden, a few hours a week?
Exactly.
But a commercial fleet Targo bike is running 8 to 12 hours a day, fully loaded with packages, hitting potholes, navigating harsh weather.
Get this beaten up.
Right? Commercial fleets demand automotive-level uptime, durability, and heavier load capacities.
But that raises a big question for me.
What's that? If an e-cargo bike has 4 wheels, automotive suspension, and is hauling hundreds of pounds of Amazon packages, shouldn't we stop regulating it like a traditional bicycle?
Well, we absolutely should. And policy is finally starting to recognize that reality.
Really?
Yeah. Samantha Silverberg testified on the Massachusetts Ride Safe Act. It's this pioneering bill aiming to regulate micromobility devices entirely by their speed and weight, rather than by what they are traditionally called.
So form follows function in the eyes of the law.
Exactly.
If it operates at a certain speed, it follows a specific set of rules, regardless of whether you call it an e-bike, a moped, or a minivan.
Right. And as the policy matures, so does the physical infrastructure.
What's happening with the infrastructure?
Sergei Koknev posted a great video of his self-docking city bike in New York.
Wait, self-docking?
Yeah. It literally uses computer vision to slowly park itself into the charging dock.
That is so cool.
And Thomas Broughton shared that a company called Spark Park just secured a patent for neutral operator agnostic parking.
Okay, so meaning you don't have a specific lime rack and a separate bird rack just cluttering up the sidewalk. It's just one universal dock.
Right. It frees up public space.
Yeah.
And cities are really realizing the value of this.
Definitely.
Andrew Seedor noted that Calgary actually used a competitive procurement process to offer free Bird and Neuron e-bikes at their transit stations for 5 years.
Free bites.
Yeah. They aren't treating them as an annoyance anymore. They are officially subsidizing them as the last mile extension of their public transit network.
That's huge.
And we also saw John Buckley highlight Bolt. They're launching inclusive solar charging e-bikes in Liverpool.
Oh, nice.
They're designed specifically with lower step-2 frames and turn signals, making them accessible to a much wider demographic.
And the financial mechanics of this whole sector are finally proving out, too.
Yes. The Lime IPO.
Exactly. Praven Joel Jones broke down Lime's IPO filing. They generated $886 million in revenue with 39% gross margins. Now, how does a micromobility company achieve nearly 40% gross margins when we always hear about them taking on massive debt?
Well, you have to separate the operational efficiency from the capital expenditure.
Okay.
The gross margin shows that the actual cost of providing a single ride, charging the bike, moving it, the software transaction, is highly profitable.
Right.
The debt comes from the massive upfront capital required to manufacture hundreds of thousands of custom vehicles and build the global software platform.
Mm-hmm.
But operationally, the unit economics work.
That makes sense. And to tie this whole urban layer together, Russell King shared a brilliant LSE Cities paper comparing the average German city to the average English city.
Oh, this was fascinating.
Because the difference in sustainable transport adoption isn't just about throwing thousands of e-bikes on the street. It really comes down to urban form, powerful local leadership, and integrated systems.
He specifically highlights the German Verkehrsverbund model.
Yes. Which is such an elegant solution.
It really is.
I mean, if you live in a major US or UK city, you probably have one app for the train, another app to pay for the bus, and like 3 different apps for various scooters.
It's a mess.
It is, but the Verkehrsverbund model creates a single, integrated, regional transit authority. One ticket, one app. It covers the trains, the trams, the buses, and often the shared bikes.
Right. It drastically lowers the mental friction of choosing not to drive.
Exactly.
So we've scaled up from the bike lane to the broader city infrastructure. Now, we really need to zoom out even further to the macro automotive market.
Let's do it.
Because that exact same obsession with operational efficiency that is defining micromobility is currently causing a massive structural shift in the global van and auto markets.
Yeah, we are moving completely away from those hyped-up tech bro narratives of the last 5 years and moving toward just ruthless pragmatism.
Let's start with the commercial EV space.
Yeah.
Nicholas Verstraete shared data on electric vans that completely destroys the traditional range anxiety myth.
Range anxiety is a myth.
For these fleets, yeah. Looking at current EV van telematics, their existing ranges easily cover 98% of commercial workdays.
98%.
The median daily distance for these fleets is only about 175 kilometers.
Oh, wow. So they really don't need heavier, more expensive batteries.
No, they don't. The real operational bottleneck isn't the vehicle's range, it's depot charging infrastructure.
Ah, right.
Just ensuring that 50 vans can charge simultaneously overnight without blowing the local grid.
And once you solve that charging puzzle, the maintenance savings are unbelievable.
Go the filter story.
Yes. Sebastian Fancanel shared the actual first maintenance bill for his company's Renault Master E-Tech van.
What's the biggest cost?
The single most expensive part of the entire service, the cabin pollen filter.
No way.
It accounted for 28% of the total bill because there are no oil changes, no spark plugs, no blown turbochargers. For a commercial fleet manager, the EV math is just undeniable.
But, while European fleet operators are celebrating maintenance savings, European automakers are facing a bit of an existential crisis right now.
Why is that?
Market reports shared by Gregory Ducange and Stefan Bratzel show that Chinese OEMs have officially hit a 9.8% market share in Europe.
Wow, almost 10%. And they aren't just winning because of cheap labor or state subsidies, are they? They are bringing a completely different industrial model.
Exactly. It's a vertically integrated industrial model. Western legacy automakers traditionally rely on thousands of Tier 1 and Tier 2 suppliers.
Right.
Chinese OEMs are increasingly controlling the entire stack, from the raw battery minerals to the final software integration. It allows them to iterate and launch new models at radical speeds.
Which brings us to a major pivot in Western boardroom strategy. Dr. Gabriel Seiberth pointed out that the old narrative of the universal car OS is essentially dead.
For those who might not know, the car OS was this dream that legacy automakers had a few years ago. They thought they could build a proprietary universal operating system, like an Apple iOS for cars, and own the entire software-defined vehicle ecosystem.
But they realized software is really, really hard.
And way too slow to build from scratch. The market is moving far too fast for monolithic, in-house software builds.
So that hubris has been replaced by a desperate need for hyperlocalization and tactical modular partnerships on EV platforms.
Exactly. And in some emerging markets, full electrification is actually slowing down due to lack of charging infrastructure, which is opening the door for hyper-pragmatic alternatives.
Oh, like the Wygo.
Yeah. I love this post from Prof. Dr. Alexander Bielich about the return of the brand Wygo.
Same here.
They aren't trying to build a $60,000 luxury EV. They are launching an innovative hybrid range extender platform that gets 2.2 liters per 100 kilometers.
Incredible.
It doesn't rely on a massive public charging grid. And they are targeting a price point of just 12,000 euros.
It's a stark reminder that ultra-efficient, multi-fuel hybrids still have a massive critical role to play globally.
Oh.
But while the ground game focuses on 12,000 euro hybrids, the high-end mobility sector is literally taking to the skies.
The air taxis.
Yes. JP Nassuf and Jonathan Valadares posted updates about Joby Aviation successfully completing an electric air taxi flight from JFK Airport directly into Manhattan.
Wow.
A drive that usually takes over an hour in grueling, unpredictable traffic was cut down to just 7 to 15 minutes.
That is amazing. We are talking about VTOLs, right? Electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft.
Exactly.
And it's no longer science fiction. It is an active infrastructure race. Jonathan D. noted that airports in Florida, specifically in Tampa and Orange County, are actively racing to build the vertiport infrastructure needed to support these aircraft.
Really?
Yeah. They are projecting daily commercial flights by 2028.
Okay, I have to challenge this, though.
Let's hear it.
It's a fascinating piece of engineering, but look at everything we just discussed on this deep dive. We talked about how a Waymo carrying 1.4 passengers is an inefficient use of public space. We talked about how e-cargo bikes are optimizing the city layer. With these eVTOL air taxis, aren't we just taking the exact same inefficient, low-occupancy traffic jam and moving it 500 feet into the air?
Well, that is the most vital critique of the air taxi movement. And it's deeply rooted in the physics of urban transport.
Yeah.
Hassan Majro made exactly this point regarding spatial efficiency. You simply cannot solve dense urban congestion by introducing more individualized, low-capacity vehicles.
Right.
It doesn't matter if they roll on tires, if they are driven by a computer, or if they fly over the skyline.
Because the geometry of the city doesn't change.
Exactly. The geometry doesn't scale. The future of sustainable, efficient cities ultimately relies on robust, high-capacity public transport, moving thousands of people, using a fraction of the energy in physical space.
Right.
Everything else we've discussed today, a self-driving taxi, an e-bike, or an electric helicopter, has to integrate into that public backbone as a feeder system, not attempt to replace it.
So we've covered the harsh physical realities of autonomous scaling, the heavy lifting boom of commercial micromobility, the vertical integration of the Chinese EV push, and the spatial geometry of flying taxis.
Which leaves us with a final thought to pull all of these threads together for you.
Okay, what is it?
Between AI-defined vehicles making hazard judgments, B2B e-cargo bikes replacing delivery vans, and EV tools racing to build vertiports. The software of the city is currently changing much faster than the concrete it's built on.
That's true.
So think about this. If a four-wheel cargo bike handles your neighborhood groceries, a robotaxi handles your late-night ride home, and an air taxi handles your airport run.
Yeah.
Will mobility professionals of 2036 even know how to buy traditional individual car insurance? Or will the very concept of private vehicle ownership have completely evaporated into a seamless background mobility subscription service?
If you enjoyed this episode, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also, check out our other editions on electrification and battery technology, next-gen vehicle intelligence, and commercial fleet insights. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the real operational state of future mobility. Subscribe to catch our next one, and until then, keep questioning what's driving your city.